I was talking with a client today who was extremely upset, and I was trying to figure out as we were going through different questions. I was saying to her, what's going on? I can see you've been crying before you came into the session. And we had this really great conversation for about 20 minutes, just talking all around the block about what was really going on. And then finally she said it. She said, David, you helped me end a really unhealthy relationship a number of months ago, probably about 6 or 8 months ago. And the work that we did was incredible. And it was so hard to do it. But I finally walked out the door and said enough. I wasn't being treated with any respect at all. She said, I don't have to tell you the story. You're the one that helped me make this move and to see the reality of the relationship. And she said, but I have a problem. I still feel attached, like I still feel like I want to go back. And even though I've gone back 7 or 8 times, as I told you, in the last 7 or 8 years, every year we do a major breakup, a blow up, and then 6 months later we're back together, and then a year later we're doing another blow up, and I just don't know what to do. And it's a great question. Hey, David Essel here for 43 years, helping individuals become more successful in life, more grounded in life. And sometimes it's really hard, Even bad relationships can have some good connections. Let me repeat that. Even relationships that are extremely abusive or filled with betrayal, filled with affairs, whatever it might be, there's going to be some part of that probably is good. Maybe the sex was great. Maybe someone has a lot of money and you were used to being traveled all over the world. Maybe you're the one that had a lot of money and you were taking your partner all over the place, places that he or she had never been in, right? And so we become attached to those type of things. We can become attached to great sex. We can become attached to a lot of money. We can become attached just to having great conversations. Maybe the relationship sucks, but we're really good at talking about life. And there's so many different things that we can say that we would go back to. But you've got to reach a point when you know it's over. We've got to reach a point where that we sever those ties. And one of the problems is, and I've faced it just like so many other people have, is the withdrawal of oxytocin. Oxytocin is that powerful hormone in the body. It's called the bonding hormone for a reason, right? When you have sex with someone, if you have emotional connection, you will have a bond. Now for women, it's so wild because they have so much more oxytocin than men. And that's what this woman is really struggling with, is that the amount of oxytocin that she'll release during sex with her former boyfriend is probably a tenth or 90% more than what he would release. So a lot of women continue to go back to bad relationships because of that withdrawal of oxytocin. However, men do the same thing. Men will all of a sudden 7, 10, 14 days down the road start to feel that horniness come on, that desire for sex, that desire for holding someone, that desire for just sleeping next to someone. People have come up over the last 43 years with all kinds of reasons. I hate sleeping alone, so I went back to him. I hate sleeping alone, so I went back to her. I've heard it all, right? But let's get down to what we really need to do. Now, some people say blocking is immature, and I totally disagree. If you need to block a former lover because you're too tempted to reach out and get back to them, then block them. Everywhere in the world, you can't even leave one little avenue open. Now, if you have children, you're going to have to leave an avenue open, right? But besides that, blocking is fine. It's not immature. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your mind, your body, your spirit, everything. So if blocking is something you've got to do it. The other thing is that we teach this a spiritual umbilical cord cutting. Now, that might sound strange, but imagine this. You're not with the person anymore, but there's an attachment, right? We call it the umbilical cord of love. So you can have a terrible relationship, but there's still this attachment. You can't stop thinking about them. It's easier to go back to an unhealthy relationship than to start all over, right? It's true. Who wants to go out into the dating world when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, right? A lot of us just stay put or keep returning because we don't want to start all over again. We don't want to have to explain, I grew up here and I went here and we don't want to go through it all. So what do? We let our guard down and we go back to toxicity. We go back to betrayal. We go back to disrespect. We go back to someone who gaslights us, which is basically lying, right? Someone who says, oh yeah, I'll take care of that. I'll go ahead and take care of that. Don't worry about a thing. And they never do. And then you ask them about it and they go, yeah, I'll take care of that. They never intended to. That's gaslighting, right? It's absolute lying. So what you can do spiritually is ask if you have a favorite spiritual mentor. It could be Christ, it could be Buddha, it could be Krishna, it could be Mother Mary, it could be Archangel Michael. It doesn't matter who it is. But you could say, could you please cut this umbilical cord, this connection with my former lover? See yourself in your mind's eye, visualize it, that cord being cut. You may have to do it 10 days in a row. You may have to do it 30 days in a row. It's okay, because we've got to create a new dynamic in your mind. And the only way you create a new dynamic that you're worthy of respect, you're worthy of being with someone that doesn't lie, you're worthy of being with someone who allows you to be you. This is what we have to do. So if it's blocking, block. If it's doing the imaginary, if you want to call it, or the visualization of cutting the umbilical cord, do it. And then go ahead and pick one friend or a counselor or a coach or a therapist and explain to them in great detail about the challenge you're having, the struggling you're having. And this is what my client said today. He reaches out and says, hey, babe, just want to see how you're doing. And she says, Dave, I know what that means. It means, hey, I'm horny, I want to have sex. And she said, most of the time I respond and I go and have it. And then later I regret it because I want a deep relationship. I don't want a surface one. But I keep going back to this surface relationship, David. So we had a great session. At the end of it, she felt 1,000 times better because we talked through all the reasons why not to go back, the reasons she might want to go back. We did this whole pro and con list, and at the end of the session, she was so solid. As a matter of fact, right there before she left, she put blocks everywhere, every social media, every type of app you can imagine, so she doesn't get tempted to reach out to him. If I can help you, go to talkdavid.com. It doesn't matter if you're trying to save a relationship, staying away from someone, if you're looking for love. We work with all areas of relationships. There's 5 books at the website, absolutely free. Grab them all. Take advantage of that, right? And work with me one-on-one. Right now, we have inflation specials, discounted almost 50% some of our programs, so we can help more people during these challenging times. Listen, it's worth it. Get out of the chaos, get out of the drama, draw those boundaries, draw those consequences. Let yourself heal. After the type of relationship that she was in, and her and I talked about this in great detail, she's going to take 365 days off of the world of dating. She said, David, after 7 or 8 years, what do you think? I said, you tell me what you think. She said, you're probably going to tell me to take a year off. I said, you're probably right, because you need to go through the seasons on your own, the holidays, the birthdays, everything else. You need to create a life. You need to create friendships. You need to get out of this one of your relationships that is dragging you to hell and back all the time. And it's emotionally draining, right? You get all excited. I'm going to go see this guy. In her case, we're going to have great sex. And that's it. And then 3 or 4 days later, she regrets that she did it. And then she's sad. And then she beats herself up. And then 2 weeks later, he texts and she's back in his bed. Now it's going to end. Let me help you. TalkDavid.com. Wishing you a great day. Bye now.